101 Dalmatians is an iconic Disney movie. Everyone knows it. And at the time, around the live-action movie came out, Disney realized that they could remake their classic movies into live action or give them sequels, which they did to 101 Dalmatians later. But they realized that if they do it in live action, they can also get tons of money. And so I'm not talking about the modern era of live action Disney movies, which are actually decent to good, but the 101 Dalmatians live action movie, which is what I believe the first live action Disney movie, maybe besides The Jungle Book. And guess if you think it's good or not. I'll give you half a second. Okay, turns out it's terrible. I didn't want to commit suicide while I was watching this movie. It's not that bad. It is not the best movie in this series, though. Not even close. But it's not even the worst either. It's somewhere in the middle of the movies that I've reviewed. Now, 101 Dalmatians is a straight carbon copy remake of the original animated 101 Dalmatians. And also they throw on some extra characters and some bad acting. But it's not like the modern Disney live action remakes that have their own little special twist to them. So you can say, oh, that's new. So this movie is actually different from the first one. No, this movie does not do that. Instead, it resorts to doing the exact same thing. Alright, so the casting, for the most part, is not good. The villain, Clara DeVille, she's alright. She is not terrible. I'll give her that. She's not terrible. And her motivation is exactly the same in the original animated movie. She has a designer draw a dog for her. No, not draw a special coat for her, and it has spots all over it because it's based off of her Dalmatian. She's like, ooh, I need to make that by killing Dalmatians. And so that's what makes her go crazy and want to kill Dalmatians. And so I just want to say that I did not watch the animated 101 Dalmatians in preparation for this movie. I didn't have the time. It was already 5 hours of movie that I had to watch. I'm not going to add another hour and 15 minutes to that. So what she does is she sees the art by the second main character, which we'll get to her in a second, and so she just goes crazy. To me, that's a weak motivation, and I will admit I am not the biggest fan of 101 Dalmatians, the animated movie. With The Lion King, I watch it around at least once every 2 years. With 101 Dalmatians, I haven't seen it in at least 6 years. But, so, she says, oh, I have to kill all these Dalmatians now. That's her thing. And also, there's a joke in the movie where her license plate says DeVille, which is her last name, but it's funny because it spells devil. It's funny because she's the bad guy. Anyway, so she's like, oh great, I need to get these puppies for the designer, and I need to kill the designer's dogs. And let's talk about the designer right now. She is one of the main characters, and her main thing is to have chemistry with the main guy. It's a bad relationship. Just like all these movies that I've reviewed, of the new era, I mean, it's the relationship is terrible. Other than Wonder Woman and Spider-Man Homecoming. In Wonder Woman, the relationship was great. In Spider-Man Homecoming, it was lacking. But in this movie, it is terrible. Neither of them have anything going for them. It's just, oh, I like Dalmatians. Oh, hi, I like Dalmatians too. Let's get married.
What?
It's just so strange how they meet and how they're immediately attracted to each other. Alright, you both like dogs, I get it. I like YouTube. So do millions of other people. It's a very similar thing. Many people love Dalmatians. I think Dalmatians are cute too. I like dogs. I follow Doug the Pug on Instagram because I like cute things. But I just don't bond with Doug the Pug's thousands of followers. Because I don't know them. But so he gets in an accident where his dog sees her dog, and then they immediately start running towards each other, and the main guy gets thrust into a lake first, and then he's like, nuts. And then he confuses her dog for his dog, and then she hits him over the head with a bag of bricks, which she just has. It's funny because her bag is full of bricks and it hurts. Ha 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 ha. And then immediately after, her dog tries to chase after the main guy's dog, and then she gets thrust into a river, and then they're both together, and they're like, hey, yeah, let's be best friends. It's just weird to me how they can instantly bond over anything. Just like any other movie character. And the way the Dalmatians end up as 101 at the end is also weird. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But, so the two main characters are very strange. And there is a child actor in this movie. And the main guy here produces video games. And the kid plays them and says, hey, this is good or bad. He's terrible! Child actors. I've talked about them many, many times. And in every single scenario, they're terrible. My dad told me, oh, Alex, when you say this child actor is bad, that's a subjective thing. No, it's really not. They're bad actors. They can't convey emotion. They can't deliver a line. They're just saying things. They're reading off a script. They don't memorize it. They're just like, oh, I just need to say these things, and then the movie will turn out good, and I'll get paid. No, it's not like it's your job and you're getting paid millions of dollars to do it. It's not like it's your job. It's not like you have to do it. You just don't have to try, and you'll get hundreds and thousands of dollars. But my God, is it just strange to me? But anyway, after the section where Clara DeVille realizes that she likes the spots of Dalmatians, she's like, oh crap, I gotta take all these Dalmatians. And so, for some reason, the main girl and the main guy, their dogs are in love, and so they have, guess how many puppies? Guess! If you said over 15 or under 15, you're wrong. If you watched the movie already, you have guessed 15 most likely. 15? That's way too many. The dog, she's dead. She is straight dead. 15 puppies is like 13 too many. And so, after that, Clara DeVille does the generic villain thing of hiring dumb, incompetent idiots to do her job. And so she's like, oh, go get these 15 dogs. Kidnap them for me so I can skin them and wear them. And so she's like, great, we have the dogs. And guess how many dogs she has? 101. What a coincidence. It's funny because that's what the movie's called. And so, at the end of the movie, I know I'm getting ahead of myself. I have 2 movies to talk about though, so shut up. So at the end of the movie, the 2 main characters get the dogs back, and they're like, we got the dogs. And so they're like, oh, we have 15 dogs, great. And then the police officers are like, oh, we have... And so they're like, we have 86 extra dogs that we need you to take. And they're like, no, we can't take 86 more dogs. And the police officer's like, oh, then where do we put them? And the main guy's like, hey, we should actually adopt them. And she's like, oh, God. And so that's the end of the movie. It ends with 101 Dalmatians. Roll credits! And then after sitting through a painful 1 hour and 45 minutes, 30 minutes longer than the original, an unnecessary 30 minutes, you get to the second one. Jesus Christ, I was only talking about that movie for around 12 minutes. Well... looks like I'll have to talk about 102 Dalmatians for a little longer. And it makes sense because I liked it a considerable amount less. My initial reaction to after finishing the movie was... the cast is all back. The cast that you all love... oh wait, no, it's only Clara DeVille. Because it's so weird. The cast is completely recycled. And all the characters are different. And that confused me. Because one of the main female character was like, oh, I hate Claire DeVille. I shouldn't give her a second chance. She tricked me. And I was like,
what?
Like, who are you? How did she trick you? Like, what? Because, like, you can tell she's not married to someone. And the love interest, again, is very freaking generic. It's the same problem as the last one. And they're not interesting. They like animals, okay? I like animals too. Millions of people like animals. Okay, correction. Billions of people like animals. God. So you cannot just bond over liking a common animal. Alright, but again, it's basically a carbon copy of the remake of the original. Except that it's done worse than the first remake, which is incredible considering that I don't even like the original. It's a carbon copy. Clara DeVille is in prison. She was arrested last movie for stealing dogs and trying to murder them to make them a coat. And so she was put in prison, and this person made like a serum or something that like it rehabilitated her. She was buddy with tons of Dalmatians. And so she leaves the prison. And that one lady that I was talking about is like, why'd they let her out of prison? She's a terrible person. And I'm like, wait, who are you? My God. And so she's talking to her servants at her mansion. And she's like, put this picture away. I can't look at it. And it turns out that it's the spots. Because she is horrified by spots. Oh yeah, that reminds me. In the first movie, she actually says, I love spots. I worship spots. And at that moment, I said out loud, spots are my religion. And my family is like, what? And I'm like, spots are my religion. Alright. So I just forgot to mention that. I'm sorry, everyone. I just had to break in the story just to mention that if any of you were wondering what my religion is, I'm not Catholic, I'm not atheist, I'm not Muslim, any others that I forgot. I worship spots. They are my Jesus Christ. But so later she's like, I can't bear to look at this, and so they lock it up. And later in the movie, she sees someone wearing spots, and she's like, oh my god, and then her hair starts like moving out. It's like mine, except not mine, because hers just comes up in random places. Mine doesn't come up in random places, it just goes up in the front. But it's like her hair just starts coming out. I'm like, is that a signification of you becoming crazy? Because I don't understand right now. And so she's like, my god, spots! Spots are my religion! And so later she tries to get the spots back.
What?
Now, this is just plain lazy to me for how she can get back into spots. Because in the rehabilitation center, she was with Dalmatians. Not just any dogs, Dalmatians. So she had been looking at those spots for hours and hours in that cell. And not once did she remember that she loves to look at spots on coats. Not once. And so, right as she comes out, she sees a spot in public. She's like, oh my god! And so, immediately, she looks around and everything is covered in spots. All of London is covered in spots to her. So, she's also taking drugs. Alright. And so, let me just say that the special effects on the London being covered in spots are terrible. All the CGI in these movies are terrible. There's very little CGI because they usually train the dogs. And I can admire the work they do on the dogs. The work that's gone into training the dogs is incredible to me. And that's probably my favorite thing about both of these movies. That's about it. All the special effects look fake because the Dalmatians, they obviously don't know what a Dalmatian looks like, so they only use two base colors, white and black. The generic white and black color, black, and then they use the generic white color, white. The contrast is so obvious because when you see a Dalmatian, you don't see an obvious cutout line of where the spots end. You can see that it fades from black to white. Not in an obvious, like, oh, it's kind of grayish all around. But, God, you don't see a line there. The VFX do not know what a Dalmatian looks like. Alright, but so later, Clara DeVille is like, oh, hey, friends, I'm gonna, to her henchman, she's like, I'm gonna get this guy, this one lady that I don't know who she is. I still don't know who she is. And so she's gonna get, like, I'm gonna get that one girl that Alex doesn't know who is. And so I'm gonna get her boyfriend to be arrested because I'm gonna frame him for stealing Dalmatians, and so she's gonna hate him and she's gonna love me because she thinks that I'm a hero and that he's stealing Dalmatians and that I'm the one who caught him, and so she's gonna give me a second chance. And so for some reason her plan works, and so she's like, alright, you're arrested, great. And so after that, Clara DeVille is like, hey, lady who just had a breakup, you wanna come to my party? It's all about dogs. And she's like, oh yeah, because she's like, wow, Clara DeVille has really changed. She's not a bad guy anymore. It's freaking fantastic. And so she goes to the party and realizes that Clara DeVille's plans are sinister. You know how she figures out? Clara DeVille has a dog, because out of the prison she got a dog. And so the dog is like, woof woof, come over here. Because the dog can obviously tell that Clara DeVille is doing something wrong. And so the dog's like, woof woof, come over here. And so the main lady goes over there. She's like, what? And doggo's like, woof woof, door door. And so main lady's like, all right, woof woof, bork bork. I know what to do. So she gets in, she breaks in, and she finds tons of fur and that one picture of the coat. And she's like, oh my god! Clara DeVille's up to her sinister plans once again. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Who are you? And so and the dog's like, woof woof, bork bork, you did it. And so Clara DeVille realizes that they're gone somehow, knows exactly where they went somehow, and locks her in. And so the dog from outside is like, bork 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 bork, and mainly is like, okay, bork bork. And so they work together and they get out. And so mainly is like, okay, I'm gonna go, thanks bork bork, I'm gonna go back to my apartment where my dogs are, and I'm gonna see if Clara DeVille has taken them. And so let me just point out again that Clara DeVille has some incompetent idiots as her henchmen to steal dogs again. Except that doesn't really come into play, really. Okay, wait, it does. But instead, they actually kind of do their job. But she's like, great. Thanks, doggo. And then she goes back to her apartment and her dogs are gone. And so her boyfriend, love interest guy, breaks out of prison. And he goes over to her and basically sneaks into her apartment and it's like, I saw, dude. And so together they hunt down Clara DeVille and she's arrested. Oh my god. Let me just say that the way she's caught is very similar to the first time because they want to be so meta. It has to be so similar. And it's the same for the way the dogs show up. Because I think the main lady doesn't even have 15 dogs. She has only 2, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so, no, wait, she has way more than 2. She has a bunch. And so, after the police are like, alright, so here are all your dogs. There are however many dogs minus the number of dogs you have. And so she takes 102 Dalmatians. Holy crap! So, what is it? Excuse me? What is happened? It's exactly the same as the first movie, except worse. And you know the lovable side character that's always there, and you're not really annoyed by them, but you like them. It's like Olaf and that one pink guy from Treasure Planet. Yeah, they have that in this movie. You know what it is? A freaking parrot. Parrots are annoying! And so, the parrot, the whole time, is talking in such an annoying voice. If you've ever seen the Fred videos, it's the same type of scenario as that. His voice is so annoying. I cannot watch a Fred video for more than 2 minutes and get annoyed. If I watch a Fred video for more than 30 seconds, I will snap because of how terrible his voice is. It's confusing. Fred, the movie, is terrible. And I may review that one day. I just got sidetracked. I actually forgot what I was talking about. I'm talking about 101 and 102 Dalmatians. Overall, as these two movies go, I'd give them a 3 or 4 out of 10. They're not terrible. They're not good by any means. Subpar. Clara DeVille is a weak villain. Her acting is not terrible. She is half decent. She's weak. I don't like her motivation. Both of the love interests in both movies are terrible and have no chemistry. All of the side characters are idiots. You got your Ron Weasley's dad in the first movie. You got that other mustache guy in the first movie. And you got that one wrestler-looking guy in the second movie. I am confused by these two movies, especially the second one, because I still don't know who that girl is. But in the first movie, it's like, oh, who are these people? Oh, I don't even know who they are. It's like, God, who am I? Got some bad special effects, some bad characters, some bad acting, and a weak plot. I don't like the first original movie. I don't like the remake. I don't like the remake of the remake. They're both bad. And also, apparently 101 Dalmatians, the original, has a sequel which came out in 2003, I believe. And if I hear that's bad, I'll watch it. I don't think it will be as bad as these ones, though. If you enjoyed this review, I appreciate it. This is a longer one than usual. But it works because I'm reviewing two movies. It's not High School Musical movie review long, though. That review is too long. If I watched that video, I wouldn't click on it. And I watch all of my videos. So yeah, happy days. I need to get an outro.